Okay, folks, so it's time for Bash. Bash is just really a script, and so it doesn't really need an extension. You can literally just do nr and tell it that it's an executable. So I'm just going to do nr, and it's going to say fundamental. But if I just type in, I'm going to just do echo Newton-Raphson using Bash terminal. Which is, by the way, the born again shell, and I just type in nr, it's not going to let me do it, so I have to chmod it. Then it's going to run that right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the file and then reopen it. Didn't like it, probably because I need this. I need to tell the computer which type of shell to use. And so I want to use the born again shell. And then now if I close it, where'd it go? There it is. There we go. Now Emacs knows that it's a shell script because I told it was. And so now it has all of the syntax highlighting, which is nice. So like I said before, Perl and Bash are pretty similar. So I'm going to kind of do them the same. And so I've echoed, so I've printed. And so now I want to grab my first command line argument. And so I want to say, this is kind of tough. First I'm going to say echo 1. And so this is the first input argument here. And so if I run /nr, there's going to be nothing. If I type in 10, there's 10 there. So first what I need to do is I need to create an error if there aren't enough. So what I want to do is I want to say if the number of input arguments is not equal to 1, then echo not enough input arguments. And then I'm just going to type in exit. And then end the if statement. There you go. So that works. Exit is this like sys.exit, abort, stop, whatever, all of those different things. So then now I want to grab it. So I want to say x0 equals, and so here's the thing that's weird. If I just tell it to grab the first input argument, I won't be able to divide by 100 and stuff like that. So what I want to do is I want to actually echo 1 and pipe it to BC. Now BC is this routine that I think it's like a binary converter. Now the problem is I want to tell it to use base 10 because it's a binary converter. And so if I echo x0 now, I should still get, I didn't get enough input arguments. I should still get 10, but now I can like multiply, divide, and things like that. Okay, so now I need to make an array. How do I make an array? Well, I do declare -a x iters. That's an array. And then what I'm going to do is so in all of these routines, you can use like push or append and stuff like that. I never looked up how to append to a matrix or did I? Yeah, I don't think I did actually learn how to append. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to make a counter, like counter equals 0. I think you can't have spaces there. And then I'm going to say x iters of counter equals x0, like that. Then what I want to do is, let's see, what's next after that? So after I've made the array, I need to define my subroutines. So I don't know if you can define subroutines everywhere, but I'm just going to define them up here. So function, and so I'm going to do function result equals, and here's the weird stuff, echo, and again, scale equals 10, because I'm going to send this to the binary converter, and I want to take the input to the function -1 times the input to the function -1, and then pipe that to the binary converter. Now, how do you return something? Well, that's very funny. So if I want to run or execute the function, I just type in fun x0. And then if I want to save the result, I type in error equals fun result. And let's echo that and see if it worked. So I should get 81. I did. So let's go over that one more time. Okay, so this function just takes the input here. Here's the first input. See, like here, this is almost like executing a command in terminal. This is the first argument to the function. I could do multiple arguments like this. So that would have like 3 arguments. And then I could use, this for the first, second, and third argument. That's how that works. So this says run the function and give it this input argument. And so this function says, okay, take that input argument and then compute this. Now all this does is says compute this result in binary and then use base 10 and send it to the binary converter and then save that as fun result. Now fun result is a global variable. So once I execute the function, I can just take error, or I can take fun result and put it into error and then save error, right? So that's annoying, but that's just the way it is. Okay, so I've defined my functions, I've initialized my error. I need to, again, you can't plot in bash, so I'm going to use GNU plot. So instead of using unlink, I'm going to do rm iter data bash.txt. I don't need semicolons. And then I'm going to open the file. So how do you open the file? So you say out file equals iter data bash.txt exec. So exec is how you open stuff. You give it a file number. It can be anything you want. I just like 11. I'm going to say that I want to read and write to it, which you don't really need to do, but I'm just going to do it because I can. And then I'm going to open the file. Once we do this, then we can kick off our while loop. Now, how do you get 1e minus 5 in bash? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say thresh equals, you have to get a little clever, echo, scale equals 10, 1 over 10,000, and pipe that to BC. Now I can say while, and now I have to do a test. Okay, what I want to do is I want to test and see if error is greater than thresh, right? But I can't do that, unfortunately. So what I have to do is I have to say, hey, BC, BC. Never seen that before. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Say, hey, BC, compute this inequality for me and tell me if it's true or not. And then I'm going to do. So that says, take error, check and see if it's greater than thresh, use the binary converter function to give me a 0 or 1, and if it's true, keep going. If not, stop. Okay, so what do I want to do in the loop? Well, first, I want to print the last vector, or the last variable in the vector. Now, because I have this counter function, I already know what the last one is. I can just say echo x iters of counter. And then I want to print it to the actual file. So how do you do that? Well, you use, let's see, echo again. I don't think you can do it like that. You have to do this. Yeah. Let's comment this out. Let's make sure this works. I think you have to use those curly braces, which is kind of weird. Cannot remove the file, but that's fine. Yeah, so there you go. So if you get rid of those, if you get rid of these, I think, yeah, it just does 10 bracket 0. That's hilarious. Anyway, so you actually have to put this in brackets. It's like order of operations. It like evaluates it and then gives it to you, which is kind of funny. Okay, so that means that this line of code is correct in here. And then I want to do the same line of code, except I want to push it to the out file. Okay? Then I want to make, let's see, save the last variable. So I'm going to say x current equals x iters counter. Then I want to compute x next, and so this is where things start to get weird. So we haven't defined f prime. So function f prime f prime result, and remember it needs to be different than the other one because these are global variables. Scale equals 10, 2 times the input argument minus 1. Pipe that to BC. Okay, so first, before I can compute x next, what I actually have to do is evaluate the function at x current, then evaluate f prime at x current, and then I can compute x next equals x current minus fun result divided by f prime result. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's way too easy, and it is, because in order to do any calculations, you have to get BC to compute it for you. And then we can do, let's see, x iters of counter. Oh, crap. I need to increment the counter. So I want to do counter plus plus, which increments the counter by 1. And then I can say x iters of counter. Oh, I don't need these. I don't need these in here. I'm confusing. I have Perl below, and I'm confusing. This is going to throw a ton of errors. I'm confusing bash with Perl, and it's really throwing me for a loop. So x iters counter equals x next, and then I need to reevaluate the function at x next, and then save the error into, I don't need that error, and I need to do no spaces in the equal sign to equals fun result. Jeez, if that works, it's gonna, wow, that blew my mind. I can't believe that worked. Okay, let's see what happened. All right, this checks if our error is lower than thresh. Okay, this prints to standard out. This prints to file. Oh yeah, so that reminds me. So let's look at the file. Is there a file? Iter date. Yeah, cool. The file's in there. Sweet. Let's see. This saves current x in array. Evaluates function fun, and then this evaluates f prime, and then this computes next step in Newton-Raphson. I'll just move that comment up to here. Increments counter by 1. Saves x next into array. Recompute error, and that's it. And then save it, and then keep going. Okay, sweet. So now that we're done, we can simply do exec 11 &-, which just closes the file. And then we can do GNU plot -e plot iter data bash. What was it? Yeah, iter data bash.txt. With lines LW3 pause -1. And now we just do NR 10, and there we go. And we do -5, and there we go. So there's bash for you. So again, not exactly designed for computing like this, but hey, you can do it if that's what floats your boat. But hopefully you learned a lot in here, just with Newton-Raphson and whatnot. Again, this isn't really a tutorial on Newton-Raphson. This is just a fun thing that I wanted to do with multiple coding languages. Okay, so we are done with all of the scripting languages. So we have finished Perl, done, and Bash, and so now we're going to go on to compilable languages. So at this point, it's going to be a little weird because we are going to be coding using somebody came to my door. I lost my train of thought. I think I was talking about Fortran and C++, and from here on out, we're going to do compilable languages. So these are free languages, which is nice. I think a lot of these languages are free. I think MATLAB and Mathematic are probably the only ones that cost money. But anyway, these ones are free, and the difference is that you can't just hit, ./nr -5. You can't just run it. It's not a scripting language. You have to actually compile the code and then run it. And so that will take a little bit to get situated with that. So without further ado, we will jump into Fortran.